What's up, everybody? Jimmy Faluca reporting once again for the pre-pay-per-view show with my good friend Frank. Frank, how are you?
Yo, yo.
Yep. Mike couldn't make it with us this evening because he's heading on a vacation. He's packing up, so we wish Mike a good trip to Seaside. Hope he has fun. And Frank and I are gonna be pulling the load for this show. You think we can handle it, Frank?
Yeah, I think we can. I think we
Yeah,
can.
we should have no problem. This Sunday's Money in the Bank, and every year they have the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and it's that time of year they got to break out the briefcases, or in this case, the one briefcase. Now that the titles have been unified, and we have a very interestingly, we only have a four-match card to discuss here, Frank. The first match I have here on my list is we have Paige versus Naomi for the Divas Championship. I don't see Paige losing her title. I think that she's been booked kind of poorly since she started. She takes a whipping and then just pulls a victory out of her ass, kind of like Sheamus and John Cena, and it's totally the opposite of what she was in NXT. She was more of an ass kicker and more of an anti diva. When she was in NXT, and I don't see that being portrayed here in on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. What do you have to say about this matchup?
I think it's just a filler match as usual. I mean, she's got a little talent, but you know, you know WWE what they do. They couldn't care less about the divas. They just it's really just a fillers match. You know, in between the main event and the mid card.
Well, the next match I have here on the list is we have the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, going up against Luke Harper and Eric Rowan of the Wyatt family for the Tag Team Championships. Now, earlier today I was listening to a podcast with my favorite podcaster, the Solomonster, and he was discussing all the different tag teams that they used to have: the British Bulldogs, the Killer Bees, the Quebecers, the not the Quebecers, the Fabulous Rougeau Brothers, the Demolition, the Powers of Pain, Heart Foundation, so on and so forth. Tag teams that when they were together, they looked similar. Now, granted, the Wyatts and the Usos are two of the few tag teams that WWE has, because the tag team division really hasn't been shining that much. But I have to say, both teams look like they belong together. In my estimation, I think Luke Harper and Eric Rowan look perfect together as a team because they complement each other. I think the Usos, obviously, they're perfect together because they're twins. They both dress similarly. They wear the similar face paint, and I think synchronization between two partners makes a tag team do good. I think that, when you just throw two people together that are singled stars and they don't look like they belong, it kind of takes away from the tag team aspect. What do you have to say?
Yeah, but I agree, but it's got to be where somebody they both dress the same and have like physical appearance is the same, but they complement each other. Like one guy is a high flyer, one guy is the power guy.
Like the Heart
Yeah, but
Foundation.
yeah, and the same thing with the British Bulldog. Dynamite Kid with the speed and power guy, aerial guy, and
What about Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard? Arn Anderson was kind of the big enforcer guy, and Tully Blanchard was the technical aspect of
right,
that
right,
tag
right,
team.
exactly, and so forth. And it works. I mean, Luke Harper and Rowan, I think they're both pretty much they're freaks. They're two big, tall, strong guys who
But
can
I'll tell you something though,
fly.
that Luke Harper is actually very deceivingly quick for a big man. I have to say, I've seen his work. I've been watching his matches a little closely since he and the rest of the Wyatts had that classic with the Shield, that Elimination Chamber, and I have to say, Luke Harper has gotten better in the
Yeah, and
last.
you ever see he does the dive through the ropes?
The drop
He's
kicks.
a big man.
No, he's a big man and he's light on his feet. We haven't had that many big men that are as athletic like that. I mean, you've had guys like The Undertaker, you've had guys like Big Van Vader, had guys like The Big Show that are athletic for guys their size. Yokozuna. You've had guys
Right.
that big that are athletic, and you don't have that many of them. So when one of them comes along, it's interesting to watch and it's fun to watch. See, because I enjoy, because obviously I'm a big Undertaker fan, but I enjoy a big guy that is athletic as hell. And obviously Taker has set the bar pretty high, since he got into WWE. But I think that that aspect, that build shows that a guy that is close to like 6'5", 7 feet tall can be athletic and create excitement. And I think if used properly, Luke Harper could be something.
Oh, absolutely. But it's like we always say, it depends on how WWE pushes him, and these guys just get lost in the shuffle after a while.
I know it's an unfortunate thing, and we'll probably address that later. The next match we have on the card as of this point is the Money in the Bank ladder match for a shot at the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. You have Bad News Barrett, Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, Jack Swagger, Kofi Kingston, Rob Van Dam, and Seth Rollins. That is the card as of this point. However, I've heard rumors, because I haven't really been that active online lately with I haven't really been online that much looking at the dirt sheets, that apparently Wade Barrett was injured on SmackDown.
Yeah, he was.
Okay, how severe is the injury?
I read he has a separated shoulder. But now they probably won't. I don't think he was originally slated to win, so I don't think it makes a difference. But maybe if they replace him, I wonder who they'll replace him with. Could it be Dean Ambrose, maybe?
Well, Dean Ambrose is already in the match.
Oh, is he? I'm sorry.
Yes, he is. He was confirmed to be in the match on Monday Night Raw.
I think that's going to be either Seth Rollins or Dean Ambrose is going to come out.
Because I don't see Dolph Ziggler, unfortunately, getting anywhere close to a main event slot. I've been having discrepancy with one or two people on the page about Dolph Ziggler and his talents. One of the guys thinks that he's nothing more than a jobber. He has no other value than that, and I completely disagree. I think Dolph Ziggler is extremely talented. I just feel that someone backstage has got it in for him, because there's no way you could be that talented and be over with the crowd and be in the shape that he's in as far as his win-loss record. I mean, because let's be very honest, Frank, Dolph Ziggler's talented as hell. And you've had former stars like Hardcore Holly, you've had legends like Ric Flair and Mick Foley flat out tell WWE, this guy's good. Do something with him. Flair actually volunteered to be the guy's manager, and they shot it down. Now, if Ric Flair gets shot down asking to manage Dolph Ziggler, why is that?
Well, I don't know. We still haven't seen Ric Flair managing anybody, so I don't know if that holds any weight. But
no, because I heard rumors that they want him to manage The Miz. And let's be honest, the last time they put Ric Flair at The Miz and he gave him the figure 4 leg lock, what has The Miz done with that since?
I don't know. I think The Miz has fallen off. I think he's best as a tag team wrestler. I don't think he should be a singles guy anymore.
I think that The Miz, some people like to bring up, he was U.S. champion, Intercontinental champion, tag champion, and the WWE champion. Yeah, he won all those titles during a period where the belts really weren't that meaningful. So I really don't think that anyone should be bragging about The Miz having qualifications of any kind, because when I look at The Miz, I see a lost cause. I see a guy that didn't deserve to be in the main event of WrestleMania. I see a guy who is nothing more than a PR guy. If he's good with PR, good for him. But that doesn't make you a great wrestler, it doesn't make you over with the crowd, and it doesn't make you a legend in wrestling. And I think
he's got a good clean-cut look with a suit,
I really
don't see much in him. I never did.
Neither did I. When he won the title, I wasn't angry because he was a heel. I was angry because I didn't feel he deserved it.
Yeah,
that's a negative.
He got himself over as a heel, and that was good. But in the ring, he just doesn't have. You could see it. He just doesn't have.
He doesn't have it. And whatever little value Ric Flair has left, they should not squander it on The Miz. I think we could agree on that at the very least when it comes to him.
Yeah, he just can't hold his own as a singles guy.
So
now we say this. He's won all these singles titles, and I think it's just he's just like we said. He's very marketable. He has a presentable look, and he can go make appearances with the belt and stuff like that. But
it ends there.
Yeah.
But so I guess we're both in agreement that either Ambrose or Rollins walks away with the briefcase.
I'd imagine so. I'd probably lean on Seth Rollins walking out of it.
Who would you consider the dark horse in that match?
I don't really see any dark horses. I think it's either just Rollins
you have Rob Van Dam, Dolph Ziggler, and Jack Swagger are former winners. Kofi Kingston has no shot of winning the match.
Rob Van Dam has a limited contract, so forget him.
Exactly. So
Swagger, I doubt, and Kofi Kingston, I doubt.
so really,
So,
Rollins and Ambrose are the only ones that I could actually see winning the match. I mean, I would love for Dolph Ziggler to pull a win out of his ass and let Rollins and Ambrose continue to feud. But with the way things are looking right now, I don't think Ziggler's going to get anything anytime soon. See, me, honestly, I guess I'm saying that because I feel bad for the guy, because I think the guy deserves better than the treatment he's getting. You know, I don't think Del Rio belongs in that world title match. I would have much rather put Ziggler in there, so at the very least he looks like he belongs. At least he's in the main event, even though I would not want him to win the title because I don't think he's ready for that yet. Because the WWE World Heavyweight Championship is way different than the world title he won in 2013.
yeah, but you can see the writing on the wall. The Shield is split. They're starting to get
Absolutely.
their own.
Now,
The time has come. Right now, you know what we were talking about early on in the year. You know, when the Shield breaks up, this is it. They're getting launched as single stars right
absolutely, absolutely, and I'm totally in favor of that because I think Ambrose and Rollins are gold. They're the future of the WWE, and if the future's in their hands, it's in good hands. Next, we have the WWE World Heavyweight Championship Money in the Bank ladder match. That was a mouthful.
now. Yeah.
And that includes Kane, John Cena, Randy Orton, Sheamus, Alberto Del Rio, Bray Wyatt, Antonio Cesaro, and Roman Reigns. Now, I just want to make a point clear here. There's recently been a poster that was accidentally released, and on the cover of it, it's SummerSlam, and it says Brock Lesnar and John Cena. Now, listen. I don't want to get into a regular Cena rant like most people do on the internet, but I have to be honest with this. This goes far beyond just me disliking John Cena and his character and what his character stands for, which is, in my opinion, telling wrestling fans to go screw themselves because I refuse to give you what you want, which is a heel version of myself. I do not think for a single second that anyone should break Ric Flair's 16 World Championship record. Now, I know a lot of people that are going to defend it turn around and say, oh, he's really 22. It isn't recognized. His official record is 16 World Heavyweight Championships. And let's tell the truth. John Cena couldn't hold a candle to Ric Flair as far as being a wrestler, as far as contributing to the professional wrestling business. John Cena,
I don't know about that.
That's the way I look at it, because if I could pick one of two wrestlers, I'd rather pick Ric Flair.
Yeah, I guess so, but I mean, come on. Cena's been here like 10 years, over 10 years.
But John Cena has had a longer top face of the company run than Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, and The Rock. The only
So what does
person,
that tell you?
the only person that's had it longer than him was Bruno Sammartino. What it tells me is that the WWE is frightened to create new stars. They're frightened to let someone else be in that limelight. When I say create new stars, I mean create new faces of the company. Because let's be very honest, Frank. Since 2005, the ratings have plummeted. They're not making anywhere close to the ratings they were making in 2005 when John Cena first got on top. Is that?
Wait a minute. I'm going to be devil's advocate. We just said they gave the title to Miz. They gave the title to Jack Swagger. They've given the title to Dolph Ziggler. And, don't you think they were trying to create new stars then? They've given the title to Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan was injured.
All right, but I'm just saying, they look at all these guys that hold the title,
Well, I can name three guys right now that I'd have no problem with winning this ladder match and walking out with the title: Cesaro, Bray Wyatt, and Roman Reigns. And do you want to know why? I'll explain to you why. None of them have been world champion. That's number one reason. Number two, none of them have been world champion more than 10 times. As far as I'm concerned, this is a new era. Ever since the Royal Rumble, like you pointed out, ever since the Royal Rumble, this is a new era where the young guys are coming up. If you've been, as far as I'm concerned, going into 2014, if you have been the champion more than 10 times, you should not be winning any more world titles. This year should be all about building the youth towards WrestleMania. How many times does John Cena got a main event with the world heavyweight champ with the world title around his waist? The guy's had the title 14 times.
How many times has he had it in the last year? How many times he's made event for the world title in the last year?
In the last year?
Yeah, what was it? TLC against Randy Orton, and besides that, when did he main event for the title?
SummerSlam.
Last SummerSlam, okay, and he lost.
Money in the Bank, where he beat Mark Henry.
Okay, all right. So there you go.
The 3 stages of hell with Ryback.
This is in the last year?
Yes, this is in the last year.
Since last SummerSlam?
Yes.
Okay, so there you go. Well, look, he's held it briefly, and he put Daniel Bryan over.
Let's be honest with that, though, Frank. The only reason he put Daniel Bryan over is because he had to go for surgery. I truly believe that if John Cena did not need that surgery, Daniel Bryan would not have won that match.
I agree with you.
I mean, let's be honest. I don't think John Cena put the guy over because, he was still going to be around and he was still going to be a part of the company. He put him over because he had no choice.
I agree with you.
And even the next night, he came out and he talked about having to go get elbow surgery. And the funny thing is, when he announced he had to leave, the crowd was cheering. What does that tell you? I mean, everyone's
tired of the character. They're not tired of John Cena. They're tired of the John Cena character.
I agree with. See, that I agree with. I agree with that. They're not tired of the man. They're tired of the gimmick that he's portraying. I've been saying that for years. I'm not like some of these marks that just blindly want him to just go away. I don't want him to go away because I think that he brings a lot to the table. But what I would like to see is for his character to develop. Earlier on, I was talking to Nick Durst online, and he's part of the page, and he turned around and said, Cody Rhodes has evolved dozens of times. What has it done for him? He actually compared Cody Rhodes to John Cena. Do you see the stupidity we're dealing with here?
Yeah, no. Cody Rhodes is not evolving. He's trying to find the character. He's trying to find a character that sticks. He's trying to find something to take him to the next level.
Exactly. John Cena's already been at that level, and I think John Cena needs to evolve. His character needs to evolve. People that hate John Cena's guts want him to turn heel. Not because they want to cheer him because he's bashing the kids or because he's bashing the crowd. They want a reason to hate him. And they want reasons to hate him other than the fact that he holds people down, that he's the glass ceiling that everyone talks about. I don't really think there's a brass ring to reach for anymore. You don't hit the glass ceiling. It's a John Cena ceiling because look at Bray Wyatt. He was the most over villain they had in the company other than Triple H. And that's saying a lot about Bray Wyatt's skill. And what happened? He ended up doing the job to John Cena at the last pay-per-view cleanly. That's no good. That is no good.
Well, it's not good. It's not bad.
I don't think it did Bray Wyatt any favors.
It didn't do him any good, and it didn't do any bad because he's using the Money in the Bank,
Well, I think the best way for them to rectify that is to have the Wyatts walk. See, now I'm going to give my prediction. I think John Cena's winning. There's no question that he's going to win. I'm so used to seeing him win championships. It's like, let me tell you something.
So you're basing this off because of that internet poster?
It's not just the internet poster. It's also what I'm used to.
So you think he's the odds-on favorite?
He's the odds-on favorite to win the title because I know how the company runs when it comes to him. There's no...
Do you think they would actually give him the title knowing that it would get booed out of the building? That it would get cracked on?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Don't you think they still remember Royal
where is Money in the Bank taking place again, Frank?
In Boston, but that's they want you to. They want you to think,
Oh God.
They want you to think that, I personally, I thought it was going to be Cesaro in the beginning, but now I have to say, I think Sunday it might be the day of the Wyatts. I think
I would love it. I would love it, not just for my little sister who loves the Wyatt family, but I think that would, until they do something with Bray Wyatt that is going to further his character and further his growth, the whole loss to John Cena is still sticking in my craw, bro, because I look at Bray Wyatt like I used to look at not like I used to. I compare Bray Wyatt to The Undertaker, and I'll explain why. He is a villain, a dark villain character that got over when he wasn't supposed to as a hero. Is that not how The Undertaker got over?
Say that again?
The Undertaker was a dark character that was a villain but got over as a hero.
Yeah, he kept, because you know what? Eventually, he put all these like the John Cena types, like the Hulk Hogan's, out of their misery.
Exactly, and that's what I was hoping I would see with Bray Wyatt. He would put John Cena out of his misery.
Well,
and
you might see it this Sunday, you know.
Well, I'll be honest with you. The loss to John Cena at Payback is really sticking in my craw as a Bray Wyatt fan, because I feel that it should have been John Cena made the same mistake with Bray Wyatt in the Nexus in 2010. Should have put them over. Even Edge and Jericho said that they should have went over. John Cena didn't, and Wade Barrett, it took him 4 years to get the stink off his back.
Well, let's again. I'm gonna play I'm gonna do your point counterpoint. Let's look at Barrett again. Now, he got a big push, and he's hurt. You know, maybe it's not his fault, but this isn't the first time he's been hurt when he's got a big push.
Fair enough.
He got hurt a couple years ago. Remember, he had to get a shoulder surgery or something like that a couple years ago.
Fair enough.
What happened to him a couple years ago? Remember that match? Where like 3 people got hurt. Do you remember that?
I really don't recall it. To say I would be a lie, and I don't feel like lying to you.
It was a match where Barrett got hurt. It was like Barrett got hurt. I remember Mark Henry got hurt in that match, and I think Jack Swagger got hurt in that match. All these guys were like main eventing at that time, and all 3 guys, it was like they got serious.
I'll have to do some research on that, but I'm going to try to get us back on track. I think John Cena's winning, but I would like to see any of those 3 that I named win. But if I could pick one, it would be Bray Wyatt. I would love to see the Wyatt family show up on Monday Night Raw with all the gold. With all the gold, it would be refreshing, because you would have a true villain who is loved by the fans as the champion, and you haven't had that since, I would say, because I think Bray Wyatt would have been perfect in the 1990s with his character.
Yeah.
He would have got over no problem.
Undertaker and Kane.
Absolutely. And you haven't had something like this since Survivor Series 1991, when The Undertaker killed Hulkamania to become the champion. Granted, he did lose it a few days later, but that win over Hulk Hogan elevated The Undertaker to a status that very few guys at his age could even dream of. And from that point forward, Taker never went for a mid-card title, ever. With the exception of the hardcore title in 2001, but who really remembers that? That was just a to-do to get him over as a villain, because Rob Van Dam was so over, and the fans were still cheering The Undertaker, even though he was doing dastardly things, so they needed to get him hated, so they put him in the ring with Van Dam, because Van Dam was so over as a babyface, if you recall, in 2001. But that's what I'm saying. My mind is telling me John Cena, but my heart's telling me the Wyatt family leads with all the gold.
Let's eliminate the weakest guy who has no shot. That's, I think,
Alberto Del Rio, hands down. The guy's a joke, doesn't belong in the match. Sheamus.
Well, he's done. His character's done. And he's going to probably leave, on his own.
I would love that, because he's just an extra body that's costing them money that really don't belong there. Bring up the Mexican guys. Bring up the 2. Bring up the 2 Mexican talents from NXT. There you go for your Latino demographic. If that's the only reason they're keeping Del Rio, you got better talents than him, and he's older too. He's a talent that, I didn't like him when he first showed up, and I don't like him now.
Okay, well, all right. So now
Sheamus is another one. I don't see winning this match whatsoever.
I don't think Sheamus. He's the U.S. champ. I don't
see him
coming
champion.
Out.
He's the U.S. champion, and he's another one that needs character development.
Yeah, I don't see him walking out with the 2 belts. So that's too down. Okay, so that leaves 6.
If he won, he would be walking out with 3. Just so you know.
Oh right, yeah, exactly. Okay, so now I think Kane as a last minute throw in. That's just I think that's he's just a disguise just to confuse people. So I think he's not going to win it.
What about Randy Orton?
Randy, I think, again, after that incident with him and Cena, I don't think he's going to smell the title.
Okay. What incident with Cena?
What's that? No,
what?
Well, when they put that match out of the building, what was it, the Royal Rumble? Or the TLC match, right? What was it?
It was the Royal Rumble match they had with no stipulation. The TLC match was decent, but the Royal Rumble match got booed out of the building.
Right, that was a match with Orton and Cena for the title. Yeah, so that I think Orton, he's not getting anything. He's not tasting. So
I hope not. He's been a 12-time champion. He really don't need it. When you've had the title more than 10 times, you don't need the world title no more. Elevate the young guys, for crying out loud.
Okay, so that's let's see. We said Del Rio's a no, Sheamus is a no, Orton is a no, Kane's a no. That's 4 guys down. Okay, then I'll say probably Roman Reigns is a no, because I don't think it's his time right now.
Neither do I. I don't think it's time for Reigns. I don't even think WrestleMania 31 is the time for Reigns either. Just being honest.
I think that's they got it circled down as his moment.
That's probably what they have in the works for him, but I don't think he's ready yet. He needs to be on his own a little more often.
I think he needs to totally work to develop a little bit more, and then he'll be ready.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
Okay, so that's 5 guys down. So that leaves Cesaro, Wyatt, and Cena.
Yeah.
So I think Cesaro. I thought he was the early favorite, and I don't think he's going to do it. So I think it leaves Wyatt and Cena, and I really think now it's going to be Wyatt. So there you go.
Oh, I would love it. Well, who do you want to win, and who do you think's going to win?
I would like to see Cesaro win it, but
okay.
They have cooled off on him a little bit, so that might be the WWE swerve. But also they did cool off. You haven't seen Bray Wyatt really on TV too much, so maybe that could be another swerve. The WWE's trying to make people forget about him, and he's gonna do it. Because I'm thinking that they're thinking is going to be when whoever wins is going to be heel champions. So when Daniel Bryan returns, he could go after his championship.
That's the other thing I wanted to bring up. Do you see Daniel Bryan winning the title back when he returns?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. At this point now, it's not guaranteed. But now it's anytime you have an injury, you just don't know. What's the reaction going to be when he comes back?
Oh, I don't worry about that. He'll have a big reaction when he comes back. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Number 1, number 2, the guy got over organically, so I don't see him.
I'm not saying people are not going to have a reaction to him. I'm just saying.
No, he'll still have the same following. He's got too big of a fan base to fail.
Okay, and also again, you got to realize his injury. Do they want to put the title on a guy with a bad neck?
They did it with John Cena when he came back in 2008.
All right, well, I hope so. But we'll see what happens. But as of now, I won't say it's 100%. I would say maybe.
I think that at least in the next calendar year, Bryan will get the title back.
Maybe.
Within the
next.
What
happens if Bray Wyatt wins and he gets over?
Well, let's be very honest. I think Bray Wyatt should have been Daniel Bryan's first number 1 contender, because who beat Daniel Bryan at the Royal Rumble clean? Bray Wyatt.
Okay, so there you go. I mean, I'll do it. Devil's advocate again. Now,
that would be perfect.
We want new stars, so why not keep the title on Bray Wyatt for a while instead of giving it back to Bryan?
Well, me personally, because I think Daniel Bryan deserved a better run, but what happened to him was beyond his control. So, me, I'm selfish. I want Daniel Bryan to be the champion again. But if Bray Wyatt could have a nice run with it, and then Bryan can get it back from him eventually, why not?
I really think the WWE should have a reign of terror with Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family. I think they should have a reign of terror where they go into Royal Survivor Series as champs.
I wouldn't be against that. Wouldn't be against that at all. And I'm still holding out hope that at Survivor Series, Brock Lesnar will take on The Undertaker, and The Undertaker could retire with a win over Brock. I'm still holding out for that. They cannot let WrestleMania 30 be the last image of The Undertaker before he rides off into the sunset. They just can't. The guy gave too much to the business for that to be his swan song. I'm sorry.
Well, that's a different discussion.
That is a different discussion. But anyways, guys, Frank and I will be right back with our next segment. I hope you guys are having fun. We'll be right back.